Hey everyone, it's Carly Hall, and today we are making these adorable resin hair clips. They have these cute gold finishes on the back, little clips, and you can personalize and customize them however you'd like. So I saw them online and thought, of course I can DIY that, so I wanted to show you what I figured out. I found these molds from ColorPour, and I will go over all of the materials, but you can customize these hair clips however you'd like. You can add whatever mix-ins you want. I have some confetti, some foil, even some glitter and beads. We're gonna try it all today. So hopefully this will inspire you to DIY it as well because they're pretty easy to make. All right, let's get started. Here are the materials we will need for this project. I picked up these molds from Michaels. They are the brand ColorPour, and here's the packaging. It looks like this. And not only does it come with the molds, but it also comes with these cute barrettes that go with the corresponding molds. So we'll glue those on after we do the molds. So I have my molds, and then you'll need whatever resin you want, a 2-part resin. So I'm using Art Resin, and I have really liked this brand because it dries really clear. So you can pick whatever resin you'd like. And then I brought a whole bunch of options for us to play with in terms of things that we can put in the barrettes, and some confetti. I also brought sprinkles. So I have a lot of options that we will play with today. And then you'll need a mixing cup. I picked these up on Amazon, and they're silicone, which I really like because then you can mix and toss it when you're done. You'll also need something to mix with and gloves. When you're working with resin, it's really important that you don't get it on your skin. So I have some gloves. I also reached out to Art Resin, and they said that you do not need to wear a respirator, but depending on whatever you feel comfortable with, make sure to look into the safety precautions. So now that my resin and hardener are poured in there together, you'll see that you can see the 2 different layers, and you're just going to mix these up. And I mixed for a couple of minutes. So you're just gonna stir it, and you'll wanna make sure to grab the edges with your popsicle stick and really scrape off those edges. You're gonna mix this until it's completely clear. So we'll just go ahead and mix that, and then I'll show you what it should look like once everything is mixed together. So after you've mixed it, you'll wanna grab some and then just drip it back into the container like this, and you should see no streaking at all. So it'll be nice and clear. It's okay if you have bubbles, we'll deal with those later, but just ensure that there's no streaking when you drop it back in. So mine's nice and clear, and we're ready to go. I have a can of compressed air. I'm just gonna make sure that both my molds are clean. So I poured a little bit of my epoxy into another container, and then I have these little sprinkles, glitter shapes that I got from Target. So I'm just going to pour a generous amount into there. Mix that up, see how much I have. And you can see that I put a ton in there, and you can go as heavy or as light as you want. And then we're going to put it into our mold. The neat thing about epoxy is that it's self-leveling. So as long as you just guide it to the edge of the mold, it will level out and fill in all of the gaps. And then since I have a bunch of these cups, I can actually just use another one, and we'll mix up the next cute barrette. Bring you a little bit closer so you can see what's going on. So this is barrette number 1, and you can just smooth it out and get it how you want it to look. So that's barrette number 1. The next barrette I wanted to do is just a clear holographic. So we'll do the same thing. We'll just grab some epoxy and then add our mix. And we can do 1 color or 2 colors, a lot or a little. So let's start with a little bit here and then mix this in. So I think I'm just gonna do a little bit for this one, and then we'll do the same thing, just stir it up and drop it into our mold. For my next one, we're gonna do pink. These ones are done, so we'll just set those aside and we'll start on this mold here. So for this one, I wanted to try some little beads. I usually wear black, so I thought I would do some black and clear ones, but then of course, I wanted to try the sprinkles, so I have these 3 left to try. Not sure how I feel about that one. I might skip the clear beads. Okay, for the sprinkle one, I was gonna pour it in first, pour just the epoxy and then mix the sprinkles, but with the beads it worked well, so I'm just going to do the same technique and pour them into the epoxy. Okay, and since I really liked this one, I think I'm gonna do another of that. I have never been into glitter, and now all of a sudden, I want a big glitter collection so that I can mix all the pretty things. The other thing that you can do with these barrettes is use alcohol inks, which I have tried, but I'm not a pro yet, so I'm excited to learn alongside you all who have not tried this before. So now I have this little heat gun. It's an embossing tool, and I'm just going to turn it on and blow out all the bubbles so that they come up to the surface and pop. So you can see there are a couple of bubbles in the bead one and the sprinkle one, but you really can't tell in the confetti one. So I'm not gonna let it bug me. All right, so it's been about 24 hours since I did these molds, and we're gonna pop them out of the silicone mold. But before I do that, I wanted to show you how easily you can take out your resin from your mixing cups. So I just like to flip them inside out, makes it a lot easier. And you kind of just push them out and the resin will just release and pop out of your cup. So then you can just pick off all the extra resin, and you can even put them in your dishwasher. So after your resin is peeled off, or just pop them in my dishwasher and they're good to go. So this is a really good option for a green alternative to just disposable cups. And you can buy a ton of them. I'll link to these ones that I bought on Amazon, but you can buy a ton of them so then you can mix all your different fun effects in different cups when you're making projects like this. So you can see that they just pop out and you can just toss that or make some art with it. All right, now to release our molds. So these have been curing for almost 24 hours. They may need to cure for a little bit longer so that they really harden up, but I'm going to take them out of the molds and then clean them up using a craft knife so that you can see my process. So to pop them out, you kind of just peel away the edges from the molds so that when you pop them out, they come out nice and clean. And then I just like to bend back my molds and push into my hand. So they should release really easily, and you can see that they're a little bit flexible still. So that just means that they need to cure for a little bit longer. And if there's any resin that kind of pulled over, there's a little bit here, I can trim that away with a craft knife. So don't worry about that. So I'll do this one. And again, the same process where you kind of just bend it to release it from the mold. Work your way around and then just peel back. And there we have it. So our molds are released. And then again, anything that's overhanging, we'll just trim off. So I'll grab a self-healing mat, and then I flip mine over to start. And then I have a true control knife. These are my favorite craft knives. And I just run it along the edges of my clip to clean anything up that needs to come off. And then if you flip it over and do the top, just make sure that you go at an angle so that you stay at the bottom of your hair clip and you don't accidentally nick the top of it because that will scratch your resin finish. So you'll just clean up, and you can be as particular as you want, but I don't think anyone will notice these little extra straggles. So that looks pretty good. I think the star one is my favorite, but you can see here that all these little slivers I can just cut off and then peel away. So here is our adorable star clip. Like I said, I think this is my favorite, but right now it's still pretty malleable. So I'm gonna let these cure a little bit longer out of the molds, and then I will adhere the clips to them. So just so you can have a visual, look how cute this will be when we glue those clips on. So I could do it right now and it'll cure on the clip, but I'm just gonna let them dry flat for a little bit longer. So just trim away any excess, and then we will come back and glue on the clips. And the top part was face down in the mold, so your top should be nice and clean. If there's any rippling on the bottom, so I have a little bit of pieces that are kind of bubbling up, that's on the bottom of your clip, so don't worry too much about that. If you wanted to sand it off, you could, but when you sand resin, it will make it a little bit more opaque. Don't let those little things bug you. It's gonna be on the bottom of your hair clip. Nobody will notice. Not sure how I feel about this black one. My friend said it looks like little ants, and I kind of agree. But you can play around with as many things as you want. I'll show you this one because you can see the bubbles right there, but the bubbles kind of give it a fun effect. They don't drive me crazy. So I'm not too worried about the little bubbles. They all turned out really cute. I'm really happy with how they came out, and I just need to clean up some edges, and then we'll be back to glue them onto the clips. So I let all of my clips dry for a few more hours. I would recommend letting them cure overnight because there is a little bit of bend still left in them. And so to prevent that, you'll just take them out of the molds and then let them cure overnight because they will continue to cure until they are hard. So once you're ready to glue them all on, after they're nice and rigid, you'll just use either a hot glue gun or E6000 will work great, but we're gonna use our hot glue gun and glue them on to the little clips. I reached out to ColorPour, the company that makes these molds, and I asked them if they just sold the clips alone. Right now, they only sell them with the molds. So if you want more clips, you have to buy more molds, but they're looking into expanding their product line so that they can just sell the clips alone. So when you line them up, you'll notice when you hold the barrette over the top, the end, you'll want to make sure that the ends line up. So if I cover the gold on this end, it will line up perfectly and cover the entire gold. So they do fit really well on that clip. So I'm going to put the glue on the gold clip using my glue gun. I have a SureBonder glue gun, and I love it because it has that nice control tip. So I'm just going to cover this up with some hot glue. And then when you're putting on your barrette, again, you just want to make sure that you line up the top and the bottom so that it covers it on both sides. And then just push it in to secure it. So there's one, and we'll do the next two. And then for this one, you can see it's pretty clear and you can see the gold through it. So just to be mindful when you're choosing your different mix-ins that with the clear ones, you will be able to see the clip through the back of it. I'm going to save the gluing for the other ones off camera since it's the same process and you just line them up. But I will show you that they line up just as well on the square ones. So these clips obviously were made for these, so they fit really nicely on the front and the back of your barrettes. Here is our final product. I will say that I'm super impressed with the quality of this kit. The barrettes are good quality. They have teeth and I feel like they'll hold in your hair well. So I'm really excited with how they turned out. They are really, really stinking cute. If you have any questions about the products used in the video, as always, they will all be linked in the description below. so you can find them and buy your own. And if you end up making them, make sure to tag me so I can see your beautiful creations and see what you mix in. Is it alcohol inks? Is it mica powders or glitter? I'd love to see what you come up with. So definitely tag me in your project so I can see what you make. And if you want to connect or you have any questions, I will also put all of my links to social media in the description below. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment or message me on any of the social media platforms. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.